Tandem Nomads, episode 173. Without consistency in your business, it is very simple. You cannot grow and you cannot reach your goals. So in this episode, I will share with you how you can build effective strategies inside your business so that you can be consistent with your efforts and your results. Hello, Nomad Nation. Welcome to Tandem Nomads, the podcast show and entrepreneurship platform where you can find great inspiration and tips to grow a successful portable business and thrive in your global nomadic life. This is your host, Emel Dereki. I'm a business and marketing coach and the founder of Tandem Nomads. Today, I'm going to discuss something that if you're listening to this podcast very often, you must have heard me repeat again and again. However, I always love to bring to you more insights and guidance to dig deeper into the strategies that can work for you and your business. So, the topic of today is how to build consistency inside your business. Before going into this, I'm going to back up a little bit in case you're not familiar with my 3 C's that I teach inside this podcast and throughout my online courses and my coaching programs. I'm going to share with you real quickly what the 3 C's are about before we dig into this topic. So whenever you're looking at fixing a problem in your business or launching a business, no matter which stage in your business you are, if you're looking at building solid marketing and sales strategies, you need to focus on these 3 C's. The first one is clarity, the second one is consistency, and the third one is conversion. So in the previous episode, 171, I gave you more insights on how to build clarity, and now we're going to dig deeper into consistency. However, know that I do have some more guidance for you that I can't summarize it all in one episode. So for that reason, I decided to provide you with a workbook to help you work through these 3 C's inside your business to be able to grow the foundations of a successful portable business. So if you want to get your hands on this workbook, go to tandemnomads.com/173 and you will have all these exercises and guidelines to help you build the solid foundations of your portable business. The big challenge and the big difference between companies and businesses that succeed and those who don't, in my opinion, is consistency. Whenever you find a company or a business owner that is very consistent with the way they market their business, but also the way they deliver their product or service and their quality, that usually gives you a clear indication of the success that they're having in their business. That is indeed what makes a difference between a successful business, as I said, and a business that does not succeed. However, it's not easy to be consistent, especially if you're a solopreneur or a small business owner. It's very difficult. Consistency is the hardest thing to achieve in a business. And this is why it actually sets apart those who succeed versus those who don't. So this is why I am so passionate about helping my clients and also my listeners, Nomad Nation, in your business and helping you in really making sure that you are being consistent with your efforts inside your business, because that is the key element that will make the difference. But as I said, it is not easy. First of all, most of you are listening while you're trying to build your business. You also are trying to live on the move, managing a family, managing relocations, and all the ups and downs and surprises that life brings us, which makes it very difficult to keep our efforts consistent in the business. But know that when you will start doing that, that is the moment where you can start officially calling yourself a real business. So I want to help you now try to manage that difficulty to stay consistent with some quick tips that can help you do that. And as I said, if you want to dig deeper, make sure to download the workbook in the show notes of this episode. So I have 4 tips for you here to help you build consistency in your business. And when I'm talking about consistency, I'm referring to building marketing strategies that are very simple, consistent, and effective. But know that these same principles can also work for you if you're looking at building consistency in also the quality that you're delivering with your product or your service. I always like to use this metaphor with restaurants. So I'm laughing because I'm thinking about the fact that we're slowly getting back into the mode of going to restaurants after the lockdowns. We're recording this episode at a time where we're still slowly, some countries in the world, coming out of the lockdown. And the experience of restaurants is a little bit disrupted right now. However, in normal times, when you go to a restaurant and you enjoy it, most of the time you would get really excited and want to come back to it. How would that make you feel if you come back to a restaurant and the same dish does not taste the same way? Or even worse, if you do like I did once, bring a very important client to a restaurant, rave and recommend a dish that ends up to be horrible when it was so good the first time. So if this is the one thing that will make people not only leave, but be super disappointed. So that's why I think that on top of being consistent with your marketing strategy so that it works and that it provides you revenue, you also need to find ways to analyze and watch very carefully if you're being consistent in the quality that you're delivering to your clients. So pay attention to that as well. But today we're really focusing on the consistency of your marketing strategies, because if you're trying to do too many things and not being consistent with them, you will hardly manage to make revenue and convert your efforts into revenue. So here are the 4 things that I would like you to focus on in order to be more consistent in your business and your marketing strategies. The first one is clarity. I have to mention it because it's hard to be consistent if you don't have a very clear idea of some of the foundations of your business. So I'm not going to go deeper into this because I did cover it in the previous episode, tandemnomads.com/171. You can also find the link in the show notes of this episode, of that episode on clarity. But here's just in a few words some of the things you need to be very clear about in order for you to be consistent with your messaging and the way you address your audience and your potential clients. The first one is being very clear about who's your niche and your target audience. The second is what should be your messaging. And in order to know your messaging, you need to be very clear about what are the pain points that you're addressing and that your audience can relate to. And finally, you need to be very clear about what are the results you can promise as a business to your clients. So make sure to do that exercise in the workbook that will help you work through all these elements that are very important to get clear on. The second aspect that will help you build a consistent marketing strategy is to actually focus on just a couple of strategies. That's what I noticed, that a lot of people, when they start a business, try multiple things. Social media here, one platform there, one platform this. They try to do networking, they try to do blogging, they try to do videos, they try to do speaking engagements. So there are, in fact, a lot of different marketing strategies you can use to be able to get exposure to your potential clients. And actually, I will list all of them in the workbook that you can find in this episode. But once you have a knowledge of what are all these strategies, you should pick just 1 to 3 maximum strategies and stick to them for a while. Because if you try to do them all, you will not know what's working, what's not working, but also you will be so distracted and exhausted that obviously it will be very hard for you to keep consistent. Most of you, Nomad Nation, I know, are small business owners or solopreneurs and don't have the resources and the time to do it all. So if you want to be effective, pick one strategy and then follow it. Now, you might ask me, how do I know which is the right strategy for me? So this will come to you when you've been through the clarity phase and done the work through the clarity phase. But here is the key information you need to uncover to know what is the strategy you need to focus on. So I always say that building a marketing strategy is actually the answer to 4 important questions. The first one is, who is your ideal customer? And the second one is, where is your ideal customer? The third one is, how do you convert them into client? And the fourth is, how do you keep them as happy clients and make them refer you? So these are the 4 questions. But here, in order to be consistent, you're going to need to focus very much on the first and the second question. Who is your ideal customer and where are they? So make sure to do your market research and analyze where are the places where your clients are spending most of their time and where they're the most reachable. That is how you decide where to put your focus. Then select a couple of places that you think are crucial and strategic for you, and then keep building relationships, keep sharing your value, keep helping and building true, authentic relationship through those platforms in a consistent way for you to start getting exposure and get more visibility. So this is the key tip here that I want you to remember. And if you noticed, I insisted on one word: relationship. No matter which stage of your business you are, but especially if you are just starting out, it is not your social media and it is not your advertising that will get you results. What will get you results is putting an effort and a consistent effort to building real, authentic relationships and supporting your community and potential clients through the valuable content and insights that you can share with them. So make sure to really put a real focus into that and make it consistent. So here is, for example, a very practical way you could do that. Let's say you found a Facebook group where you see that a lot of your potential clients could be there. And what happens a lot of the time is that people who find Facebook groups will go there and then bombard it with their advertisings and eventually get kicked out of it because they're pissing off the administrator of the group. So don't do that, Nomad Nation. If you find a place like a Facebook group where you feel like this could be a fantastic place to find your clients, then invest consistent time in the group to support the members as if it was your group, not to sell, but to support. So make it, for example, a 10-minute every day to go into that group, answer to people's comments, support them, even if it has nothing to do with your business. But also when you have somebody who has a problem that you can solve, don't try to sell to them. Give them some guidance right there. And once you have built a relationship with the members as well as the administrator, then you can reach out to the administrator and say, hey, I love your community and I feel like I can really bring some value. Would you like to hop on a call to see how we can collaborate? Make it an official and clean process to actually provide your services to that group. But before you try to sell, make sure to build that relationship. I always say that growing a business is like dating. You don't want to jump in bed right away. Make sure to have a first date, get to know each other, and then eventually you might want to propose and take the relationship to the next level. And that also, like I said, can be done in a very consistent way by making sure that you dedicate consistent time and effort and focus in it. Once you do that, then pick the 1 to 3 places where your clients are and be consistent with it. But sometimes you don't know if that strategy is going to work or not. So this is why a lot of solopreneurs are tempted to try different things because they don't know which place is going to pick up and work. So here is what I want you to do. When you pick those 1 to 3 strategies, give yourself a timeline or a deadline to decide when you're going to readjust. So give it some time to work. Things don't work from a day to another. I cannot give you an exact deadline. You need to figure out, depending on your audience, depending on your business, how long you want to give it. But for example, if you're in a Facebook group, give it 1 to 3 months of engagement to see if it's working for you. If not, then drop it and move to something else, but instead of trying it at the same time of other things. Do you see what I mean? So I'm asking you that question, expecting you to answer me. I can hear you, so tell me, do you get it? All right. So I hope this has helped you, but this is really, really important. The second point, focus on 1 to 3 maximum strategies, and then use the workbook that I share with you in the show notes of this episode to get a bit more deeper guidance there on how to choose those strategies. The link is on tandemnomads.com/173. Now, here is the third point that I want to share with you in order to build consistency. And this is probably the toughest one, which is time management and creating systems in your business that allow you to be more effective at creating content, but also building these relationships. When I talk about consistency, I'm also talking about you building your own content and create and growing your own audience in a consistent way, because you do not want to rely only on other people's audiences to grow your business and get exposure. You also want to create your own audience, and that can take time. So before I go deeper into this, in the show notes of this episode, I will link to a previous episode where I talked about how to create content that will help you attract clients. So check that out. I also will link to the episodes where I give you more guidance on how to manage your time effectively. However, I kind of want to condensate these episodes with some key tips that's related to how you can manage your time to be consistent in your business and your marketing strategies. So the first way to do it is to actually block consistent time in your calendar. So just like in the times where you used to go to school, I'm sure that you remember you had a certain classes that were always the same time, the same day of the week. For example, you have math every day from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. So this is the same thing you want to do with managing your content and your marketing strategies, is to have consistent time blocked in your calendar, just like any other task that you might have if you were an employee or if you were in school. So take your calendar and block that time so that you can really focus on what you need to do to stay consistent and make it part of your daily or weekly routine. If you don't do that, then it's going to be as simple as that. You won't be consistent. It's as simple as that. So if you struggle to build consistency, put it in your calendar. Things that are not in your calendar will not happen. It's as simple as that. So that's my first tip, to be able to manage your time to create consistency. Block it in your calendar and make it a consistent day of the week and a consistent time of the day. The second quick tip that I have for you is to create templates. And this has been so helpful for me that I really want you to think about how can you systematize some of the tasks that you have to do with your marketing and your business. For example, if you have to create content, you have to block some time to find the idea, then to write your blog, then to create the graphics and the visuals, then to post it on social media. So these steps, first of all, you want to block them in your calendar, but you also want to look at what are the tasks that are repetitive, and then create some templates. For example, for each episode of the podcast show, I have a show notes. And in order for me to not have to wonder what to write every time in the show notes, I have a template, and you will see every show notes looks the same. Just go to this show notes and compare to the previous one, and you will see that the structure is always the same. I will first talk about what is the topic that we're addressing, then the bio of the guest if there is a guest, then the freebie if I have a freebie, and then the list of the takeaways and the call to action. So think about that in your case. What are those key things that are repetitive, and create a template out of it? Also, to organize my documents and not look at them all the time, I have empty folders that I have as a template. And all I have to do is to copy that folders and paste it for each new episode so that I can organize the pictures, the elements that I need into the folders so that I don't have to look for them. So what I suggest to you, every business is different, but just sit down, observe what are the repetitive tasks that you have to do, and then figure out a template that you can use and copy paste for every time you have to create that task or that piece of content, for example. That is the key. That has changed everything for me. And I hope that you will really take the time to do it, because you will feel so much more free and so much lighter to not have to wonder every single time what you're going to write or do. And I'm going to give you here a quick example of a template if you decide, for example, to do blogging. And then you can adjust it to your own needs, obviously. But for example, let's say that you decided to choose blogging as one of your marketing strategies. And you every time end up in front of that white paper wondering what to write. So the first step that I ask you to do is to list all the topics in general. Just brainstorm them, list them, and know that for that you need to have clarity. The first point I mentioned before. You will not be able to have a lot of ideas of relevant content if you didn't do the first work. But once you've done it, list all the pain points you can address through your business and then convert them into potential titles of blogs so that you don't have to wonder. When you're ready to write, you just pick a title and start writing. That's the first step. Then use that template that I was mentioning. For blogging, for example, you could have a template where you know that each blog is structured into 3 parts. Part 1, that is explaining what problem you're addressing in this blog. You know that you will always start with that. Part 2 is sharing the key takeaways or insights to solve this problem. And then part 3 is the call to action that you want your readers to take. You see, by just having these 3 parts, it will really save you the time for wondering where you're going to start and what are you going to write, because you have a structure that's the same each time. So I hope this little tip helps you. Of course, you can personalize it and adapt it to your own case. But in terms of time management and systems, here's the final part that I really encourage you to do is once you have looked at what you can systematize, don't hesitate to use technology to automate and schedule so that you save time, and also delegate. That is also something that I go deeper into it in the episode on time management. But basically, for example, once you have blocked the time in your calendar to do the task and that you have this structure that is in a template format and you've finished to do the work, then block the time to schedule your posts and automate them. They might be as well, I'm talking here with a specific example of creating content, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of tasks that you have to do in your business can also be either scheduled or automated, but also delegated to somebody else. So look at the tasks in your marketing and your business management and think about what are the things you can schedule, what are the things you can automate, and what are the things you can delegate so that you can be more consistent in the way you implement these. All right, so quick summary of this third part, which is about time management and systems. The first one is block the time in your calendar. The second one is create templates. And the third one is automate, schedule, or delegate. This is really, really important. And now here's the final part that for me is the most crucial thing that will make you either consistent or not. Actually, if you don't do this, nothing else that I mentioned before will work. So the 4th part to building consistency in your business is your mindset. And by that, I mean your commitment to do it. So there's obviously nothing that can work if you're not committed to put the time and the energy and the effort into doing it, into doing this work. I know that this is not fun all the time, but the difference between an entrepreneur who's successful and somebody who's trying hard is not only their commitment, but the fact that no matter what day it is, no matter if it's raining or it's shining, you will do it. That is what matters, and that is what will make the difference. Your ability to commit to a task and to building the plan, but also implementing it no matter what. So you need to really, really understand that that is the key difference. However, I know that sometimes it's not that easy, first of all, because our lives are just so overwhelming. And that's where systems are important to manage that overwhelm. But also, especially when we're just starting out, building consistency and having the right mindset for it is really dependent on the confidence we have on our work. And my big call to you here is to work through your confidence in the work that you're doing. I know for working with so many clients that what stops them from being consistent is the doubts they have on, is this good enough? Are people going to like it? Am I just being a fraud now by saying things that I don't know anything about? Is this written in a good way? I'm not good at writing. I have to find a proofreader, or I have to find a ghostwriter because I'm not good enough in this. So all these questions, Nomad Nation, if you're asking yourself these questions, stop right now. Stop doubting about the quality of your work and the quality of whatever you have to do to build your business, because that is the limiting belief that is stopping you from being consistent in your business. Nomad Nation, when you find yourself doubting, questioning, hesitating, here is the key rule. Get it done. Perfect is the enemy of good. In order to be consistent in your business, you won't be able to write the perfect blog every single time, as much as I'm conscious, for example, that I'm not able to have the perfect podcast episode every single time I take the mic. But I'm doing my best, I'm trying my best, but I know that I cannot let that thought stop me from showing up every single week. So please make sure to understand that what the reason why your audience is going to be faithful to you, that's going to be following you and trusting you, is not by having each one of your marketing strategies or your content being perfect. It's by being relatable to you and showing up on a regular basis and a consistent basis. That is what will create the trust factor, and not how perfect is your content or what you're saying or what you're doing. Be relatable, Nomad Nation. And by being relatable, you need to accept to sometimes not only be vulnerable, but also just be yourself and trust that what you have is good enough. So that is the key mindset that you need to have. On top of committing, you need to just have that idea that the key rule is get it done. Do it first and then perfect later. What I mean by that as well is that here is what I've learned over the years. The thing is, if you wait to have the right expertise and to really be good at this before you start showing up consistently, you will actually never be able to be good at this, for the simple reason that expertise comes with practice, with real life practice. What I mean by that is not keeping things hidden behind your computer if you decide to write, for example. You need to share it with the world, and you need to see how people react to it so that you know what you can tweak, change, and perfect. So if you're waiting to be better at what you do, know that you will not get better at what you do because simply you're not sharing it with the world to allow you to grow and get better at it. All right, so keep this in mind, Nomad Nation. Get it done, and because perfect is the enemy of good. Keep showing up on a regular basis, and you will see your audience will trust you and will support you, will give you the feedback, and will help you, even help them better. I hope that I made my case, and I hope that with this workbook that I share with you, you will be able to get even deeper into this topic. I can't wait to hear your feedback. I always want to know what you've learned. What is your key takeaway from this episode? Know that I have a private Facebook group where you can share your questions, your insights with us. So make sure to join us into Tandem Nomads Facebook group if you want us to exchange and connect with other members of the community. As well, I show up on a regular basis live to answer your questions. So make sure to join us there and share your feedback. I can't wait to hear about what you are doing to build consistency inside your business. I'll meet you in the next episode. In the meantime, stay tuned to turn your challenges into great opportunities.